Hello folks, I just want to let you know that Stellaris has been updated to version 2.8 here, so there is a possibility that this playthrough may come to an end here if things go really wrong. We'll see though. The Fallen Republic mod has not been updated yet for 2.8 though. Another thing is, if you try to run Stellaris in 2.8 with the -DX11 launcher command to make it run in DirectX 11, there is a chance that the game will crash upon launching. At least that's what I noticed when I was running it with that launcher command line. So yeah, keep that in mind, but I have at least played a little bit of the mod so far in a new game, so I'm gonna be continuing it in our current Arkanian campaign. See what happens. Hopefully it holds up. If not, well, I might do something else. We'll see. So, thanks for watching, and let's continue on. The war with the Republic Loyalists and the Corellians continues, with the Arkanians establishing some manner of defensive fortifications around their borders. However, the Empire has been decimated, its fleets destroyed, and many of its worlds, if not occupied, at least blockaded. However, in a moment of tactical genius, Chanthros Turok sends his forces around into Ceotric Gemini space, up through the Galactic North, to strike at Dantooine, the capital of the Republic Loyalists. However, Dantooine will prove to be a difficult target, as it is inhabited by all manner of rebel defenders. After an extensive bombardment of Dantooine, Arkanian forces arrived on the world and took it over. Now, one of the primary locations for the rebellion has been neutralized, but many more remain. In fact, the rebel Republic Loyalist faction still remains one of the most powerful in the galaxy, a faction that must be eliminated if this war is to be won. However, one option does remain. Instead of moving further into Republic Loyalist space, it may actually be worth it to strike out against the intergalactic banking clan. The banking clan was vassalized some time ago, and while its banks provide plenty of credits to the rebels, it may just be a prime target for acquisition by the Arkanians. After significant bombardment, Winlist is open to assault. The various Arkanian transports begin their landing, and within moments will take over the ancient banking mechanisms of the moons. However, this will only be one segment in the war against the moons, as a greater target has appeared. On the edge of the galaxy, an ancient world, if it can even be called that. Rumors list it as Mortis, something related to the Jedi, but not of the Jedi. Whatever it is, Chanthros intends to investigate it, take control of it, and perhaps even learn something of it. And so the Corellians move on one of the bastions that the Arkanians have established. One of their strongholds that has defended it for so long. 3 large fleets, each approximately, well, not quite. One fleet is around 90,000, another very close to it, and another at 42. The space station that they will be fighting against is approximately 156,000. Several transports that have been preparing in orbit have been destroyed. Although suddenly it appears that they are retreating. Not quite willing? Or perhaps so. Perhaps they are in fact willing to begin the assault. The starbase is defended by several XQ platforms and a single Golan. It is not the most formidable defense, but it is certainly something that will cause damage to the Corellians. Another fleet has been dispatched to come and aid. However, they may arrive too late. If they do arrive too late and fail in the defense of the Citadel, it could mean the destruction of most Arkanian forces. The defending stations have fallen, and now the Citadel is the only one that remains. It is doing significant damage to the Corellian fleets, but its shields are beginning to fail. The defense fleets are still a couple months away. And unfortunately, the Citadel is falling further. The Citadel is lost. The fleets should instead return to Arkania. It is a crippling defeat, and while the Corellians took some damage themselves, the loss of the major shipyard for the Arkanians will prove devastating to the war efforts. Within the hearts of moon space, a rebel fleet encounters the forces of the Arkanians. While the Arkanian forces had made excellent progress against Dantooine and other worlds, now that they were caught, there was no escape. An interdictor prevented any escape from the system, and the Arkanian fleet was outmatched in both firepower and sheer numbers. There were far too many star cruisers for the Arkanians to deal with. And while the Admiral of this fleet had done quite well against other foes, this time she would not survive. Another loss for the Arkanian Armada. And with the Empire having also been decimated, this war will only continue to go worse. War once more finds itself coming to Arkania. A massive rebel fleet has just entered the system, and while reinforcements are on the way, they may be too late. The XQ platforms launch their fighters, and the main starbase prepares its defenses. However, there are several large battleships on their way. The fighters begin the engagement first, and some of the Mon Calamari cruisers begin their own assault. Across the horizon, however, the Arkanian fleet has arrived. 2 Lucrehulk battleships, and the pride of Arkanian engineering, a Bellator star cruiser. It skims the surface of the star, using it as a shield against the rebel sensors. Then begins an all-out assault. The rebel battlecruiser falls. A great display of Arkanian tactical genius. Yet while Arkania may be secured, the rest of the war continues to fail. The battle is over. Now it is time to analyze the total destruction of the fleet. An analysis of the first fleet shows that only a selection of corvettes were lost. A great triumph. However, one of the advanced Carillion II destroyers was lost in the battle as well. For the second fleet, only a selection of corvettes was lost. The Arkanians are relatively successful, but this battle in no way assures success. It is at this point that I am going to call this campaign for today. My overall thoughts on this setup for, recording videos and all that. Honestly, to me it feels like I'm trying to do too much. The biggest problem with trying to do more, not necessarily scripted, but more minimized, edited content is I often find myself unable to come across stuff that I necessarily like, A lot of my, dialogue, comes, right out of the head, out of the air. So when I'm talking, it feels, a little bit robotic. Another thing too is even though I've gotten this to work successfully in version 2.8, there is still the continuing issue of the mod kind of chugging along towards the end. I know Havoc has told me that he likes to actually play this mod on one of the more standard galaxy sizes. But I don't know. To me, I don't know if it's because there's just the total number of factions that are out there. Because you start with like 35 to 40 factions on the map. So I don't know if that's the issue. I don't know if it's a series of events kind of being triggered. Because I noticed that a lot of the chugging in the game has to do with... it happens at certain times of the month, particularly like around the first of the month. So I don't know if there's like an event triggering in the background that's slowing it down or what. If I remember correctly, I don't think I'm playing this on the 25% habitability. So that could be part of it as well. I think this one is just on the small galaxy size. Again, it's been a little while. Another reason why I'm also going to call it for this campaign here is just because I find myself really falling behind on making the content. So the amount of game time that I've spent playing for this series, or for this episode, is in excess of like 6 hours for what's going to be probably, after all this commentary, maybe around a 20-minute video. So I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's necessarily working out. I might take a little break from Stellaris, might try something else. I haven't decided what yet, but I want to try and get back to doing more regular content, because definitely with the cinematic series, I'm finding myself really falling behind. Right when I was, starting to get to be a little bit more regular. But for those who have watched, hopefully you enjoyed. I know it seemed like there were some comments that seemed to enjoy. One or two seemed to prefer the longer gameplay. I don't know if I'll be able to find a good mix, just because honestly I'm not very good at editing, so we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching, folks. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Any comments on whether on this cinematic series or anything like that, feel free to leave them below. Another thing too, as to why I'm ending this campaign is, you may have seen this in parts of this episode, but I'm involved in 5 wars here. And the problem is, it's all because they're focused on the Empire. Like, well, let's see. This one is against the Empire. This one is against the the Greater Javin. This one's against the Seatric. That one's against the Empire. That one's against the Seatric. And I can't leave the Alliance, so I am stuck with them. So it is just a complete mess overall. And yeah, could I like fight my way to a stalemate? Sure. And I was making some decent progress up here. Let me turn off that. So like I took like all of this territory, Dantooine, Yeah. So it still actually considers me controlling it because I actually invaded the planets. But then a rebel fleet came and took out my forces over here, and yeah, it has been a frustrating battle. But I guess if I had to say one thing that I'd like in this mod is maybe a galaxy option that just has less factions, that focuses more on kind of the more primary factions. But, you know, everyone's definition of what the primary factions would be probably differs. So, I don't know. One thing I might try, and this is, I'm not going to do a video on it, but I'd like to try just starting a game and seeing if I can just destroy some of the nations, just so that there's less factions roaming around, and see how that works. It's an idea. I don't know if it would work, but yeah. So, thanks for watching, folks, and I will see you all later.